5-3 in the previous round. Peggy Lee is the referee. Well, Peggy Lee, the referee, just asking for a bit of hush before we get this match underway. It's best of 9. Ronnie O'Sullivan against Pang Junxu here in the last 32 of the Wuhan Open. Sullivan just getting himself ready. I'm sure he would feel this is the toughest test he's had so far. As I say, Ken Doherty, Mark Davis didn't really produce the goods against him, but Pang is an up-and-comer. He's a dangerous player. He was in a ranking final last season, so let's see who prevails. Ronnie O'Sullivan to get us underway. Expectant faces in the crowd once again, watching on. And, well, not the best of starts, although it's finished okay. Flicked off the blue, covered the red. He might be wary, Neil, of his young opponent here.
I think so. This is the toughest match of the 3 he's had to play, O'Sullivan, for sure. Played Ken Doherty, then he played Mark Davis. Very fine players, of course. Ken's a former world champion, but at this stage of everybody's career that we're speaking about in this section of the draw, Pang Junxu, who took Ronnie to 7 frames, won 7 frames off Ronnie at the Crucible, wouldn't be an easy draw here in China. So I'm not sure the form O'Sullivan has shown to date will be quite enough. I think he knows he'll probably have to pull out a bit more. And no one knows better that what is required of him than Ronnie himself, given his career record.
Yeah, Pang has kind of rapidly improved. He turned pro back in 2020, and last season he got to a quarter-final in Germany. Then he got to a semi-final at the Welsh Open, and then the next event, WST Classic, he got to the final, where Mark Salby beat him. Yeah, the blue, of course, was knocked off its spot by O'Sullivan on the break-off. It never helps a frame when that happens. Because if you look at the other colours, pink and black, not great either. So this is going to be hard work to get something going, but he is first in.
His season's not really gone very well so far, is it, for a player that we've all been building up as, someone that could break right through. He's had a few disappointments, a couple of defeats to Robbie Williams. He's a good player, of course. The kind of players in that area of the rankings that you never have an easy match with. And it's all a part of the learning curve, of course, of which he's still very much on. 23 years of age, he's still at the part of his career where the best is to come, I'm sure. But this is a different test for him. I suppose, having played him at the Crucible, he knows roughly what the drill is against O'Sullivan. Now, I'm sure there's a bit of a mystique as to for players who have not played him before the first time they come up against him. Well, he's been there and done that. Could be on the red, if so he's a bit lucky.
See Judd Trump in the background there, playing his second match of the day, having beaten Ollie Lyons, playing Matt Selt now. Yeah, that blue being off its spot is not helping at all. There's a lot of work being done on the cue ball here for not a lot of points.
I mean, when you break off and hit the blue in practice or any other form of the game, it doesn't help either player, like you say. It's just a major scoring ball out of action. can't think of anyone that sees it as a positive. And there's 50 in front at the time, but of course breaking off is the very beginning, so it's a frame changer at times. He'll do well to make many here. He looks quite sharp in the very early shots we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the key to unlocking it is to get that red off the black spot and then try and at some point get the black into play, and then he could be away. So this is the red that is going to open things up a little bit.
That's a good effort, a bit unlucky there. You know, he's got the direction was good. He either wanted to just send the cue ball a bit further up the table or nudge that right-hand red of the two. Either way, a bit unlucky. Blue is, I think, going to be brought into open play with this next shot and playing safe. He's changed his mind. He originally nominated blue. I think he's gone the green now.
Well, Pang worked very hard with that break at 12, but just not quite able to get on that black to continue.
So I'm not exactly sure what kind of form O'Sullivan's in. Last week in Brentwood, he played one very good match, you know, which made me think he's at the top of his game against Jackson Page. Terrific game, high standard. Zhang Anda beat him on merit. He seemed to get a little worked up with the crowds this week in these two matches straight after Brentwood. Well, he's played okay, but not much better than that by his standards anyway. But I still say that a tournament like this here in China, which he's been saying is where he wants to play a lot of snooker, his best chance of winning a ranking event these days, perhaps. Certainly at this point of the season.
Maybe a chance here to get in. Yeah, he did miss it a couple of safeties, but he's finally now got his chance.
Better shot than it looked, that little drag shot. Hold for the black, not easy at that sort of distance between the balls. One thing he was doing yesterday was over-screwing on shots, and this usually very controlled cue ball was not really in the precise place it usually is. Over-screwing by a couple of feet on some shots. Obviously, we know he's got a new tip on because he bit the other one off. There's another example of his cue ball not being under the consummate sort of control that we're used to seeing. By O'Sullivan's standards, that was a dreadful shot.
Yeah, and it was a better chance than the one Pang had because, in O'Sullivan's case, the black was in play. Yeah, the meeting at the Crucible, it was 10-7 to O'Sullivan. He led 8-3. It was sort of petering out, and Pang did make a late rally. He got back to 9-7, but just too much to overturn on his debut.
And then, of course, O'Sullivan's next match before he lost to Luca was the showdown with Hossein Vafai, wasn't it? Which was made the newspapers in the UK. Some sort of a grudge match. O'Sullivan was miles too good for Hossein over the 3 sessions of that match. In fact, I can't even remember, did it even go into 3 sessions?
13-2, wasn't it? Yeah, he was over in the second. 2
sessions only. Yeah, that's always very emphatic when we don't get the full quota of 3 sessions in a World Championship match. If it's best of 25, you've You've either won or lost very easily for that to be the case.
So going on the attack, second time.
I'd be disappointed here if he doesn't make a few. This is a good chance now. These 5 reds all in play. We're not winning the frame, but we'll take him fairly close to.
These multi-table flat draw events have not been happy hunting grounds for O'Sullivan in recent times. The last ranking event he won when he came in the last 1-8 round was the 2018 UK Championship. So it's 5 years. Won, obviously, other tournaments in between, not least a couple of World Championships where he started in the last 32. But sort of relentless day after day stuff hasn't always been to his liking. But coming to China, as we know, he talked about, is to his liking. Already won the Invitational Shanghai Masters.
Well, it's more to his liking now than it was, because he didn't always play in these events previously, to the disappointment of his many fans in this part of the world. Beautiful shot, that. So he was overscrewing yesterday, but he's judged that one into absolute perfection. So now, he's an angle on his colour to get into the 3 reds, which are not able to be potted where they stand. Playing off the side cushion into them here. Ah, that's a beauty. And that is exactly it. He didn't just think, I'll try and hit the 3 reds. He wanted to hit the right-hand red, and just everything was unlocked there. Delightful shot.
45.
Frame winner, for sure.
Well, we're not in control of the replay machine. It'd be great to see that shot again, though, wouldn't it? It was absolutely played to perfection.
53.
Let's say, I think certain times you assume that a player's just basically trying to hit a big target and see what happens, but there's no doubt that the shot he played was planned and executed to perfection.
Well, his break-off shot wasn't up to scratch. He played a couple of poor safeties. Then he lost position when he was in the first time, but O'Sullivan has come to life in this first frame in a big way now.
67.
So, swift 67 from Ronnie O'Sullivan accounts for the opening frame. Pang did have that early chance. It was a bit awkward where the balls were. Eventually, O'Sullivan made good on the chance that he got. Best of 9, first to 5 to reach the last.
I can't imagine it's anything else. So this match, I think, will be crunch time for Judd if he can win 2 in a day with obvious jet lag. Well, we'll have to keep a watching brief on that.
Yeah, because he's got here. He's starting out, and lots of the sort of main rivals are already out. People like Salby and Robertson and various others. So if he can get through today, as you say, he may start to fancy his chances. Barry Hawkins, though, who beat him in the European Masters final, is waiting. Pang Junxu gets frame 2 underway, having sat out that 67 from O'Sullivan and watching rather nervously as that red creeps its way up the table. Oh, fabulous spot.
Yeah, and certainly in a couple of the matches in Brentwood where he played well, his long game was good, which is often, I think, the yardstick with O'Sullivan. He's always going to be good in amongst them. Made a career out of that. The long pots go in, then he's got most bases covered. He's overhit this one, however. Played around for the Reds, but not with the cue ball going that far down the table. So I think he's playing safe here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 3.
Just on the earlier matches, you may have seen Mark Allen scrap his way through on the pink 5-4 against Si Chia Wee. As I say, Barry Hawkins has won. And one of the forgotten men, really, Stephen Maguire. We've not seen much of him lately, but he's through to play Ryan Day. Ooh, just the pink.
I thought it was not the most natural angle to go into the Reds. It looked like it was a little bit heading up towards the pink, and so it was.
Yeah, there's also victory for a rookie we've seen a lot of this season, He Gyu Kwon. Tom Ford was successful, Liam Highfield, and of course Shang Andra as well, who was the runner-up to Trump on Sunday. Bit pacey from Pang. O'Sullivan has his hand on the table, but he's not potted it. It's a real reprieve for Pang.
I think he had his mind on the cannon on the red by the black, which sometimes affects the pot as to, how you play it, whereas if it was just trying to pot the red, I doubt he'd have missed it with no positional aspect to the shot.
Well, it was a reprieve, but he didn't take advantage.
Well, he's feeding O'Sullivan chances right now. A couple already in this frame. And if you keep doing that, you're going to come unstuck.
1.
Will make things difficult for him not keep on providing opportunities.
Well, it's been the pattern, really, in all 3 matches so far. I know this one's only been going a frame and a bit, but the first 2 as well, he was being, as you say, handed openings. Judd Trump has won the opening frame against Matt Selt on table 2.
6.
Deserves to be on something, and he is. Very good. Again, it was well directed.
11.
And they hit it with a lot of force. Hand on the side cushion can't be an easy shot, but he played it well.
12.
Well, this is not easy from here, but the likelihood is if he misses this, it will stay near the pocket. This black potentially block the pocket, but it doesn't matter when the pot goes cleanly into the middle. So, away again. There was a chance Pang has left him. Ronnie just starting to crank it up a little bit out there.
20.
Because he needs to build himself up this week, because he's playing on the show table every day. Everything is geared up from having a good run. But, of course, the opposition is going to get tougher round by round.
25. 26.
As you can see, a choice of a couple of reds which pot to the same pocket as the black that he's just knocked in.
34.
You see a picture of Judd Trump over there sitting in his chair. I think he's waiting for Matt Selt to arrive back into the arena. Second match of the day, as we were saying, for Judd. You know, the theory would be he'd win and he'd get a good night's sleep tonight for tomorrow, but jet lag sometimes doesn't quite work that way. Anyway, that's something for him to deal with. I suppose he's the victim of his own success, picking up the title in Brentwood the other night, the English Open.
50.
Tough this. If he plays, well, no, if the pink goes to the middle, correction, is not tough. Well, it was, you just have to lean over and play the black.
Yeah, the frame looks basically done, doesn't it? In no time at all. And Pang did have that chance to left corner after Ronnie missed to right corner.
57.
I think there's many things to say about O'Sullivan's career, but the feature of it is how quickly he can take a frame away from you. You know, Pang only seems like he's made that mistake in the blink of an eye ago, and now the frame's all done.
65.
And it happens very quickly when O'Sullivan's like this.
It's all a bit too easy for him early on in this match. And he's got to try and put some pressure on frame 3, otherwise this could be another one-sided affair.
80. 81.
He made a century yesterday against Davis.
89.
Sport for choice, really, as far as his colour, but he just put the pink back on its own spot. It's a lovely break, you know. I mean, he's played a couple of very nice shots to open the reds up during the course of it. And it's just been
95.
almost a breeze for him.
96.
And I think the signs are that he's just coming to the ball nicely this week. As I say, he's had 1-2 matches played okay. He's kind of almost just won them, hasn't he? And this is a step up, Dave, I think.
Well, as I say, he's not been put under pressure. So he's been, he stepped up, but he's been given the opportunity. And that's why Pang cannot afford those sort of errors. Because this is what can happen.
Yeah, the point I was making, I was asked yesterday evening how Ronnie's match went with Mark Davis, and I said, well, he just kind of won it, really. I mean, there wasn't really any fireworks in there. He felt he'd win it, and he did win it, and that was just another day at the office. Whereas, just might think that he'll have to just step up, and he's doing that now.
Well, it's been a delightful break, hasn't it? You know, it's just
15.
the reason he makes it look easy is because of the control he has. We haven't seen him play a sort of difficult shot because he just kept tight control of that white.
121.
But it is all difficult. We all know that. Yeah, wonderful. That's a wonderful break from Ronnie O'Sullivan. A clearance of 128 in the blink of an eye to lead 2-0. It was a key moment, actually, wasn't it, when he landed on that pink rather than the difficult black. And from that point, it didn't look in any doubt. And indeed, he went on to make 1-2-8. So Ronnie O'Sullivan 2-0. And it's all very well, of course. It's easy to say Pang's got to, take his chances. But when you hit with something like that, it's obviously pretty intimidating. This is the other table. Judd Trump and Matt Sell, good friends, of course, played last week. Trump 1-0 up. I'm sure he is exhausted, but I suppose he's come in here in a positive frame of mind. Contrast that to John Higgins, who also made the long trip at the last minute, coming here having lost to Trump from 5-2 in the semis. Clearly not in the best of spirits. There's other things going on as well. You may have read about in the newspapers in terms of the exhibitions in Macau during Belfast and all the rest of it that he's involved in. But he'll put it all together. He lost 5-1 to Martin O'Donnell yesterday. So he's out, but Trump, of course, has won already today, and he's 1-0 up there. You can watch, of course, that match on Discovery+.
Frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan in control early on here of this match. 2-0 up against Pang Junxu. Just made 128, his second century of the week. Pang had that chance in the first frame. The balls were awkward, but then O'Sullivan missed a red to right corner in the second, and Pang had a red to left corner, which he immediately missed, and that was basically that from his perspective. So that did cost him. He's one of these players I think, a lot of people have looked at. He's had good results already. Can he become an established player in the sport? Can he rise the rankings? He's only young, he's 23, but matches like this are big ones, and that's not gone to plan that shot.
I think it's very difficult for players young players, I don't just mean the new sort of groups of players from Asia who have exceptional talents. But I think you have a good season as a youngster. I've seen it before with players in the UK. You start the new season with expectation. It doesn't always go to plan. O'Sullivan's played a poor shot there, by the way. He's not on the black, which is, again, for him, not one of his best. But it's almost like the difficult second album, isn't it? They say with a band, it's not always easy to go out and build on what you're achieving, because the pressures are slightly different, aren't they? As you have made an impression and you're trying to go to the next level.
Yeah, it's twofold, really. I think it's what other people expect of you and tell you should be doing, and also what you expect of yourself. And, you want to back up a good season with another one. And I think Mark Allen, in a way, is struggling with that a little bit this season. I know he won today, but he was actually saying yesterday that his form isn't great at the moment. Of course, last season he had by far his best ever season. He's trying to continue in the same vein, but it's maybe not that easy.
Well, of course, he was playing someone in the same position as that as well, in CGOE, who was looking to build on what he achieved at the Crucible, where he was just sensational. And it's not always that easy, in the weekly routines of the tours to, move on. Good match, that. I mean, I do think that CGOE had a very good run of the ball, which didn't quite take him over the line. I think that was why Mark Allen, when he rolled in the final pink, looked so pleased to have won, because he kind of overcome a poor run of the ball in that match to win it.
Yeah, it's good attitude shown, actually, because a lot of things seem to go against him. Could do with the wobble here. Yeah, well, he needed that, didn't he? Because that cue ball was coming back down the table.
Just a little chance here, Dave, for O'Sullivan to sneak that cue ball in behind the yellow bringing it around 2 cushions. It's a natural angle. That's what he tried, but he's not quite on track.
Going to be 2-0 Trump. He's dominated the first 2 frames there, so no signs of any sort of tiredness setting in yet.
Didn't hit that all that well, O'Sullivan. The cue left the bridge of his hand in playing it.
Got away with it, really, didn't he? Because the red and the cue ball were very close together. There could have been a collision, and then he could have left him in. Pang was walking away, but in his mind, he would have been willing that white in behind the green.
I mean, he gets some applause, but he wouldn't have played behind the green there because he's gone round the back of the yellow en route. I think what happens is some of these snookers that have got behind bulk colours, you sort of just walk away, don't flinch as if you've played them, but you wouldn't always have played them. Here's a little player view, which we didn't quite get to see, but
Chanted to this pocket where he missed in the last frame. Well, it's some sort of chance. Obviously, the black no good at the moment, but see if he can just get his hand on the table and make a few. Get involved in this match.
I mean, I haven't spent any time in the same sort of practice facility as Panda and Sue, because obviously I'm not playing the game these days, but everyone who has tells me he's the first in there in the morning and the last to leave. You know, he's absolutely dedicated and puts in long hours on the practice table. So I think on that basis, you know, he deserves everything good that comes to him. I think there's no escaping the work that you need. But, you know, he puts in 8 to 10 hours, I'm told, each day, that's a lot, trust me, to get motivated for.
All that work is for moments like this, to try and get involved in what for him is a big match. It is for anybody playing O'Sullivan. This cue ball to hold up for the pink, which it has done, I think.
Nice shot. I'll say, if you could get a list of questions when you're a snooker player, people ask you, the one that so often is asked is, how many hours a day do you practice? Everyone wants to know that. People come up with all these 6 and 8 hours, but often it's less than that in reality. But he needs to put that practice to some use here. 2-0 down, but in with the chance.
13.
Yeah, that WST Classic, it was a little below the radar. It was a ranking event, but because it replaced the Turkish Masters that come off the calendar. So it's played in Leicester. And it was only on the last day there were any spectators, so it's a rather eerie business. But he beat some good players. He beat Jimmy, actually, Jimmy White. He beat C. Wee, Gary Wilson in the semis. Mark Selby beat him in the final. But it just was a suggestion that, you know, he's continuing to improve and can be a handful in years to come. qualify for the Crucible, beat Ken Doherty and Junxu.
Well, that's absolutely perfect. He wouldn't have meant to have been quite so close to the pink, but now that he's finished there, it's fine.
Big opportunity this. Black had a commission, but concentrate on the pink. He's got the blue as well. Red's nicely spread, you've got to say. He made 16 century breaks last season. His first season in 2020-21, he was Rookie of the Year at the World Snooker Awards. So he's definitely been making steps forward each of his 3 seasons on tour so far. Little things you want to tick off, obviously getting to the Crucible will be a big one. Reaching your first final, etc., etc. In terms of rankings, he did get up to 33 in the world. He just slipped back 2 places as it stands. He has qualified for the International Championship, which is another big money event in China. He's got that to look forward to next month. Well, this has gone awkward. Getting the equipment out here, the Spider. He's only 40 in front, so suddenly he's found trouble. Now, what we've got here, we've got the rest as well. Is that going on the Spider for extra height? It is.
I've never really understood why people do that instead of just using the extended Spider. Or whatever it is that Dominic calls it, Dave. Which is it?
Bridge rest.
Is that the extended Spider?
No, that's it. He calls the Spider the bridge rest. I don't know what he calls this. The extended bridge rest, maybe.
Look, once you've got this out, you know you've got a difficult shot, basically. That's enough to tell you, isn't it? Yeah, no surprise, is it? Horrid. I used to prefer the swan neck, which is under the table as well, on those shots. I found it a little easier to use than the extended Spider.
So Sullivan has a chance, 40 behind. There's a few safe reds at the moment. We'll see how long they stay safe. Yeah, just found trouble positionally there, Pang. He was going nicely until he left himself there, all encumbered.
A bit of a stretch, this. Yeah, it wasn't nice. He's playing it with pace. And he was leaning, as you saw, right across the table, which is not the most comfortable position for a shot.
Oh, well, not great. It's a tough table. Just to say the Northern Ireland Open draw, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to it coming out. It has come out in the last few minutes. O'Sullivan here will play Ahmed Al-Sayed, who's an American professional.
Yeah, he of the graphite cue, which he uses.
Mark Allen's got Ben Mertens. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
It's not the easiest of draws. It's more a question, Dave, and I know you probably can't answer that because you're looking at it. Who isn't in it?
Well, yeah, that's the first thing I did look at, but it seems people will have followed this story. They'll know that Luca Purcell, John Higgins, Mark Selby, Ali Carter are playing in an exhibition in Macau. There's a lot of talk about that. But just looking down the list, Neil Robertson is listed, Judd Trump is in the tournament, Kyron Wilson, Mark Williams. So it seems it's only those players who are not playing in it, of the sort of big hitters. Well, that's worked out well, that double kiss, meantime.
This would be a painful frame to lose if you're Pang Junxu, because really he's in front, the balls are awkward, and now O'Sullivan's got a chance of a counter-attack.
Pang, by the way, will play Ian Burns in the Northern Ireland qualifiers. There are qualifiers next week. Obviously, the top 16 seeds are held over.
Beautiful. What about that for a shot? And he played it like that. He actually kissed the red twice. But even then, it was a beautiful shot. From being a frame which O'Sullivan looked big odds against to win, now he could participate in it even more. But the angle on the blue is not favourable to get around the table. You have to hit this very hard. No, that's a good shot. He's on the one red. I think he's got the pace of the table better now. Now, is there a shot to screw into the red and the black? Two reds and the black here. In the lap of the gods. But if he could just creep this cue ball in behind one of the bolt colours, I think he'd be the favourite for the frame. They'd be a bit annoyed. That wasn't one of O'Sullivan's best shots. Further to the left, it could have been big trouble for Pang Junxu.
Yeah, just final word on that Northern Ireland Open. I've just counted up. I reckon there's 11 top 16 players are in it, so it's not quite what was being predicted by some. Anyway, we're concentrating on this tournament this week, obviously. And a big frame this for Pang, trying to get a foothold in this match. And it's a terrific pot. But it's not finished at all good, has it? Looking at the scoreboard, obviously was hoping to be on a colour. So now, try and put O'Sullivan in some sort of difficulty.
Yellow ball. Junxu, 1.
I suppose the other argument would have been to put one of the big colours safe, but he's played the snooker. These are big moments, I think, in this match. You do feel it's a bit of a must-win frame for the man at the table.
It's a good pot. I mean, it wasn't a shot to nothing because the cue ball crashed into the brown ball. Now it is still anybody's frame. I mean, obviously Pang is favourite because he's in possession. He's at the table with this green that he's going to try and roll in, I think, through the gap into the bottom left. Got to go in, though, this. Goodness me. It's a poor shot, isn't it? I mean, he's right behind it. Right behind it. He put everything into it, but it wasn't very close, quite honestly. You know, never threatened.
No, and this comes back to what I was saying earlier. He hasn't got anything safe, really, so in many ways it put more pressure on the pot there.
Well, this would be a bad frame to lose for Pang Junxu, I think, because he's not been like the first two. It's been scrappier, and he's always been in command, but doesn't mean he'll end up winning it. Yes, he will need them all, but of course, could find himself 7 in front on the black, the way things are going.
9.
Correction, Pang could end up 7 in front on the black, but I don't know if it'll come to that.
14.
Tough shot this. Again, he's leaning across, not dissimilar to the shot he missed earlier. Into the opposite corner. Same outcome. To virtually the same shot.
O'Sullivan, 14.
Leaning across when, you know, could have got the rest out and played it down from this end of the table, I suppose.
Well, again, another reprieve for Pang. So, pink and black to steal his first frame. But he's under it as well. We've seen a couple of times in this frame. He's been feeling it. And he's got a little bit of extra length on the cue here. But if he potted the pink, he was always going to be on the black. So, just roll this in and it's 2-1. Could be relieved. That could have been O'Sullivan's frame, but Pang Junxu delighted to get the chance to win it after that Trump would be suffering, but the opposite's true. He seems to be flying there. Not sure exactly how long he's been in Wuhan, but it's a great start, having already beaten Oliver Lyons this morning. Sure, physical fitness does play a part as well. Trump looks after himself on that regard, so put that together with the good feelings you got about winning in Brentwood as well, and all is well for him. This is what's happening there. It's live on Discovery Plus. They're just starting frame 4.
I think it's a combination, isn't it, of what wins out of absolute supreme confidence or having jet lag, which he must have, because it's been such a short turnaround. A couple of mornings ago, he'd have been just flying out, and now he's playing. So one will beat the other. And of course, Matt Selt's a very tough opponent, who he did beat last week, as you said, comfortably. Maybe that's also played a part in it, the match last week where they played each other.
Yeah, and Selt could have jet lag as well, obviously. So it's an issue, obviously, with a lot of travelling. It's not an issue that players have had in recent times, but of course now we're back established very much in China. This is the first of 3 big ranking events here this season, and of course we've had the Shanghai Masters big invitational event as well. But Trump, I'm sure, would like to get that done as quickly as he can and get his night's sleep, however many hours he gets, because tomorrow he would have a tough match with Barry Hawkins, who of course beat him in the European Masters final back in August. And the Hawk again coming through under the radar. He's beaten Jamie Jones today 5-1. Looked a good match, that performance. So Pang Junxu, he scrambled that third frame a little, pink and black, but he won it. That's the main thing. 2-1 it is to Ronnie O'Sullivan, whose sort of charge here has been just pegged back a little bit. Judd Trump, though, is 3-0 up against Matthew Selt, going well on table 2. There are some other matches in progress as well. Ali Carter and Staurt Bhingham, all the way from Essex to play each other here in Wuhan. That's 1 each. Aaron Hill from Cork is 2-1 up against Martin O'Donnell, who knocked out John Higgins. Hill's had a century there. And O'Donnell is actually on for 1 in the 3rd frame, just completing that frame. Jack Lazowski, again looking for a maiden title, is 1-0 up to Sam Craigie.
Now he's got cover on that red. Must be a close one. I suspect O'Sullivan can get through to it, but it's quite straight, and he's looking to see if the black goes to the opposite corner, which might set him off to a good start to the frame if he can pot this and get on the black, because the potting angle is on. Just a little bit straight. Didn't play it well. He's ended up on the black in the middle. Will he take this on? That would be a stroke of good fortune. Tell you what, it was a terrific shot, but he was very lucky to be on it. There's no getting away from that. To be on the black in the right middle, he had no clue that he was going to finish there. But he played it boldly in the end. Now, all of a sudden, what a chance has appeared. Clearly the black does not go to the left corner, or else he'd have played on it there. Well, he'd like to get into the bunch at the earliest opportunity, sometimes with the red out. Whether it's here or not, I don't know. I think he might just not play it this time. But it's imminent. Well, that is not the split we anticipated, or certainly O'Sullivan didn't. Very rarely does he do that, where he goes into them normally with a bit of fizz on the cue ball, and they break well, and the cue ball doesn't end up trapped with the reds. But on that occasion, it did happen, and he's got no easy shot really to even play safe from here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 37.
Yeah, obviously the red by the middle is the problem ball in terms of playing back to ball.
That's a pretty glaring mistake. Trying to be a bit clever there and get the cue ball behind the black, but hitting a series of reds like that, you lose control over where they're all going to finish. And the middle red of that little sequence, as you can see, has become very potable for O'Sullivan.
Chance number 2 then for 3-1. Of course, this time the reds are in play, so with a useful lead already, something's going to have to go dramatically wrong here to stop him. Well, maybe something like that.
Well, yeah, he's ended up on the green, but not very nice. He might just be heading towards the red, though. Whether he can control it, I'm not sure.
Well, he must be livid with that, because what a chance when he came to the table where the balls were. So Pang, probably mentally preparing for 3-1 there, suddenly gets an outside chance. If he could get 2-2 at the interval, that would feel like a major result for him. Not really played his best yet.
Well, it's okay, except for his cueing on the shot. He's opened the reds up nicely. But he's over the top of this red to the point where he's going to try and push the cue ball through. It becomes a missable shot. What's he done?
Meanwhile, they've gone to the interval on table 2. Judd Trump is 4-0 up on Matt Sell. Just about an hour's play, so second match of the day. Trump absolutely flying.
Yes, what a chance it is, Dave. You're right. Which he didn't, I suppose, expect to get. Oh dear. It's not good. Not good. And he sort of sits quite deep into that chair with disappointment, I think. I think he was fully aware of what sort of chance it was. The cue ball just kissed the ball, raced into the middle. So Sullivan dodged one there. No pot available, but O'Sullivan just pleased to be back at the table, I should think. Sent the cue ball very wide on that safety shot. Very attacking line there. It's pretty good, I think.
There's a bit of noise, I think, because the other table's gone to the interval. So Peggy Lee just asking a little bit of quiet.
So that was a nice pot, and he's redeemed himself for the previous error. Here's a replay. really, this is as good a chance as you could see. Oh, yes, he's 29 behind. That might not count for anything because there shouldn't be anything left on the table when it's over because this chance is very good. Just the top red, I suppose, of the two on the right, but even then, that's very accessible. Surely not. He's dangerously close to getting stuck behind the pink there. He hasn't done so, thankfully. That would have been a terrible outcome. Beautiful chance, though. He has to take this 2-2. I think, as Dave pointed out, that would feel like a big win psychologically. Because it could have been... O'Sullivan might be 4-0 up by now on a different day.
Yeah, I mean, Pang, he's had quite a few chances, but he hasn't really made the breaks. It's all been bits and pieces. You just sense the pressure on these. This is, something could go wrong here. He doesn't stay focused on each shot.
Well, I mean, he should get this with the rest. Yellow to green, but it is not inconceivable this could go wrong with the pot or positionally. No, that's a lovely shot. And just a few more pots needed with his concentration intact. And he's kind of slightly got out of jail if he can clear up here.
Yeah, 2-2 is a major result because O'Sullivan had a great chance earlier in this frame for 3-1. Second chance in the frame, it looked for him to be a really good one. Lost his way, Mr. Green.
34.
Still needs blue and pink. Now this is the ball, as you see, he was straight on the blue. This pink for 2-2. And a chance to regroup at the interval. Yeah, good pot, middle of the pocket. So Pang has made the clearance, and he'll be delighted to go to the interval all square. The last two matches we've seen from Ronnie O'Sullivan, once he got in front, he ran away with them, but that's not happened today. He was 2-0 up. He made a century, of course, 1-8 in that second frame, but despite chances since then, it is going to be level at the interval. 2-2, plenty more snooker coming away from the Wuhan Open shortly. last 16. Yeah, he's so impressive turning that round against Zhang Anda. 7-3 down. Nothing really going for him, but showed great spirit and attitude and a bottle as well in the end to get it won as he goes into the reds here. Well, he's brought the form with him, it would seem, on the plane.
I was saying earlier on, you know, that the school of thought is just said, well, you'll sleep well tonight, but with jet lag, you might wake up after 3 hours wide awake. That's what could happen. But either way, no, he should be very proud of the way that he's dealing with all of these matches. It's only snooker, of course, but it's just more the travelling alongside it and the tiredness you have to go through. But playing great stuff right now. It's good to see.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I mentioned Jack, his brother, during the final on Sunday, and again, I think he would have helped here because all the sort of administrative stuff would have been done by him, you know, all the rebooking of flights and all that stuff, and even just getting all the luggage ready. I'm sure Jack would have done all that. So Judd Trump, that is, has just got to basically get on the plane, which is what he's done, and he's looking good here in this big day for him with the 2 matches to play to continue in this tournament. Yeah, it's good stuff, this. So we're just waiting for, I think they are coming back now, the players, O'Sullivan and Pang. Much closer match, 2-2. You can watch Trump, though. Might not be much more of it, but you can watch it on Discovery+. So we resume at 2-2. It was 2-0 to Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he won the second frame with 128, a really lovely break. But despite a few chances since then, particularly in frame 4, it's 2-2, and Pang Junxu delighted to be coming back out after the interval all square. First to 5, we'll play Yuan Sijun in the last 16 of the Wuhan Open. So far, this is his 3rd match, O'Sullivan, and by far the closest.
Well, that's horribly short of pace. Yeah, Yuan Sijun waits, as Dave said. I mean, it could have been Ding Junhui, of course, but he was whitewashed by Yuan Sijun yesterday. Ding and Ronnie would have set up a mouth-watering clash here in China. They love the 2 players so much. Been hard to know which way they would have gone as favouritism there. Didn't happen. And it might not be that Ronnie's in this next match with Sijun either, because I think he's not razor sharp, is he? Let's be honest. Could be a plant there. I think that's why he's played that shot. He thinks the 2 reds are dead set to the left corner.
Remember, O'Sullivan missed the pink with the black waiting 3-1. Didn't really threaten the pocket, that one.
guess a lot of this will come down to if the chance came for Pang Junxu to win, would he really believe that he can beat O'Sullivan? I suspect he's not frightened too. He's had some good wins, but something about playing Ronnie that a lot of them, of the lower ranked players, sort of they struggle with, and they always have. It's the same when Steve Davis was in his prime and Stephen Hendry. There's almost a frightened to beat them in a way. Whether Pang Junxu feels that way, we might find out later. He's going to brush up on his attempts out of a snooker, I think.
Peggy Lee will have to replace these. She's a very good referee, Peggy Lee. I remember Ronnie made a 147 out in China one time. She gave him a hug afterwards, which you certainly wouldn't have got from John Williams back in the day. But she's doing a good job here. Change of plan. Well, Judd Trump's got match ball next door, I can tell you. About to pot a red. That will complete victory. You can hear the applause. So Trump 5-0, and what a great day he's had. Oliver Lyons and Matt Selt dispatched, and he's into the last 16 to play Barry Hawkins. Terrific match. Look forward to there tomorrow.
Can he get to the edge? I think the right-hand edge, perhaps, of the Reds. Swinging the cue ball over to the top left-hand side of the table. That's okay.
Yeah, the applause for Trump, who's completed victory, and a very popular one next door on table 2.
If he's left the red to the right middle, he may have done.
Yeah, it looks like he has. It was a good clearance he made, I think, in that fourth frame. You know, he was under pressure to do it. Okay, it all looked straightforward, but just the position in the match, the fact he'd made mistakes up to that point. But he did it pretty coolly in the end. Even the last pink, you know, he's straight on the blue, so he's a little further away from the pink than maybe he would have liked, but it was right in the middle of the pocket when it went in. Noise in the background as the audience perhaps of the Trump match just have a go for a few refreshments maybe.
Not really an O'Sullivan frame, this, is it? I mean, he could still end up winning it, but it's a bit of a sort of fishing around for scraps at the moment. Nothing with the black safe on. Not the kind of frame that he's known for winning as much as the ones where the balls, of course, are in all open play. But ultimately, it's a very important frame. If he was to go 3-2 down here, Ronnie, then, of course, clearly he's in trouble. He was 2-0 up. But it's a bit of a grind, this frame so far. Junxu is happy to just take what's there. That's a nice shot. That's not been rewarded very handsomely.
16. Junxu, 16.
O'Sullivan leading 2-0 has just become very subdued. Very subdued. Sting has been taken out of the match. Junxu must now think that he could just possibly press on from here. Of course, if he starts to play better, there's no reason to believe that O'Sullivan wouldn't also follow suit. Funny stage of the match where you're not entirely sure how it's going to pan out from here. His focus is there still. Unlike at Brentwood the other night, when it wasn't, to be fair. The match he lost to Zhang Anda. But just been kept quiet for a fairly long period of time by Pang.
Yeah, he sort of burst his bubble a bit, hasn't he, Pang? You know, that 1-2-8 he made in frame 2, you think it's going to be a procession now, but that's not what's happened. Forcing O'Sullivan to really focus on the sort of frame when maybe he wouldn't always do so. Well, he did leave a chance there, so let's see how O'Sullivan is feeling as he comes back to the table looking to score again.
Yeah, he can get into the pink here and get the balls open. Which he did rather gently, or more gently than I thought. Thought he might go in with a bit more pace, but of course the black not available. Maybe he thought that didn't want the reds to also go on cushions. So let's see. Been kept quiet. He's looking a bit subdued. This has come along. He's wrong side of the blue as well. So already he's sort of chasing this break a little. It looks okay. He's won 7 world titles. He understands that passages of play, you can be kept quiet. Knows exactly what's required, but it's not happening at the moment, is it? Let's be honest. He's not really doing it today.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
No, I mean, once he played that shot from blue into the pink to get the reds open, you sort of fancied his chances of going on to win the frame, but he's actually still behind in it. No, it's a good shot. He obviously would have preferred it in behind the green, but he's battling hard. We did see this from O'Sullivan in Shanghai at times. He wasn't always sort of free-flowing, but he did give every shot, every frame, his full attention.
The other thing about this, it's not the easiest table to play a meaningful safety shot. Of course, in behind the green would be very handy, but it's not the easiest shot to play. Got to throw the cue ball wide as he's done here. If anything, he went too wide there with that cue ball. He'll be playing in behind the green himself. This is a nice effort. The Reds spoiled it a little bit by coming down the table. I think he played a good shot there. He may have left a pot at this red. Not sure how much he can get to, but it wouldn't be easy. Strange way about it. Pang is kind of calling the shots right now. Whether he wins or not, different story, but he is very much in this match. Whether he'll tense up if the chance came to actually win it and beat O'Sullivan remains to be seen. Well, that was very deftly played, just getting back in through the gap between the two reds onto the red. Well, there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be in front here. It's getting very interesting from his point of view.
15.
Had the opposition been stronger or had they played better, then he would have been in a real game. He's not really been tested until now.
23.
So 39 the lead with the black and the red, and colour should see him home here in this frame.
Looks away in disgust. He's on the red to the
30.
top left, up close, but he wanted something better than this. And he knows that he's still in a slightly vulnerable position should he miss this red, because the balls are very much there. So, big shot. Still needs a colour after it, highish value. Well, he deliberately didn't try and come up and down for the two remaining reds in case he missed the pot, as Dave was saying. He just tried to pot it. I assume that O'Sullivan will carry on snookers, but sometimes he's been known to just say, right, let's start the next frame, get on with it. Never quite know which way that'll go.
Junxu, 38.
So O'Sullivan looking for a snooker, and well, it's not too bad, but I mean, the balls actually are not in bad positions. It's just the extent to which he's going to dig in. I was wondering, I mean, he took a long time actually to come back to the table. I was wondering if he was going to get up, but he did. He won 4-point snooker, and then he could tie with blacks off the two reds. Otherwise, 2 snookers needed. This is the problem, though. If they're in good positions for snookers, that applies to both players. The gap.
Well, if this red goes in and he knocked a couple of these sort of shots into that right corner in this match, then it'll definitely be frame over. There's no coming back from this. Yeah, that'll be from 2-0 down. Junxu has done very well to get himself in front.
Yeah, and what he's done well, and O'Sullivan has contributed by making errors, he's just taken the sting out of it. So often O'Sullivan gets in front with a big century. The whole energy of the room surrounds him and is about him. But it's gone a bit flat, actually, and that is suiting Pang Junxu.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, he can swamp opposition, O'Sullivan, can't he? And he's been becalmed in this match. Not to say it'll stay that way. But, the one-sided nature of his first 2 matches and first couple of frames here has now left the building, and he's got to knuckle down. Ronnie claims that he wants to do well in all these Chinese events. Well, he's got some work on in this match.
Yeah, he's lost the last 3 frames, in fact. Pang Junxu dug in there. It was scrappy stuff, it's got to be said, but he doesn't mind. He's in front, sensing what would be a big victory for him today if he could get over the line. O'Sullivan just never sort of got going in that frame. So 3-2 to Pang. He needs 2 more frames for victory. Now, Judd Trump, we know, has won 5-0. We can show you how that ended. Yeah, just a very one-sided affair. He played well, made some nice breaks, and showing no signs of tiredness, which he had every right to, but you wouldn't have known unless you knew. The background to coming out here and travelling and all the rest of it just looks fresh and ready to go for another week. What for him would be a 5-day tournament, of course. Starting it a couple of days after everybody else. Aaron Hill 3-1 up on Martin O'Donnell. The other matches have just disappeared off the radar, I'm afraid. They're not on the live scoring, so I'll try and get those back. But Trump, he's going to play Barry Hawkins in the last 16, so that's a standout match tomorrow. Some of the big hitters are out, but 2 of them are going to be playing each other.
This is the first really big event, I guess, prize money-wise, of the new ranking season. You know, this would really set somebody up, wouldn't it? And £140,000 the winner, and the same amount of ranking points. And this, it does set up somebody's season. So I guess that's why a lot of people haven't made the journey, because it's worth doing. Anyway, that was one-sided, all right. That was no ill effects, it seems, from Judd Trump there.
Apologies if you're watching on Eurosport and Discovery Plus, actually, that we didn't see the start of this frame, but Ronnie O'Sullivan, you can see the replays, knocked in a terrific red. 3-2 down. He needs something to happen.
Well, the mark of a champion at this game, or in fact any sport really, you know, when it comes to individual sports, is players have got gears and they can go up a gear when in a bit of trouble. Of course, Ronnie can do it, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Terrific red and black. Missed red. I'm slightly concerned about this match. Certainly if you're an O'Sullivan fan, I've got a feeling that this match might be going against him. He's not been sharp to me in any of his matches, but he's won them without any real fuss. This could be a different ball game today.
Absolutely, and you know, you think there, well, okay, he's got the good red, he's got a few reds into play, could be away again, and then it just all comes to a juddering halt. Pang has got to pick up the pieces and sense the opportunity here. He did actually beat O'Sullivan in a Championship League match. It was sort of low-key business, you know, in the middle of summer, not this year, but last year. It was actually in the middle of a heat wave. But he beat him, so he has got that to hold on to. 9. Certainly, if he can start scoring, which he's not really done yet, then Ronnie O'Sullivan's got problems in this match.
Didn't think he had to go into them on that occasion because I think the red or two went to the right middle, but of course he would have had to eventually. He's on this very thin red to the left middle. The cue ball he wants it to go through the gap between the green and brown here, out towards something higher value. That'll do him. That's a good shot. Seems to have good concentration out there. You know, he hasn't played his best, but picking up frames, he's doing what you can only do against great players. Just try and give your all out there. He's certainly doing that. He was just racing around the angles, no good. Miles short of, or too far from where he wanted to be. I mean, he's probably 4 feet out there with that shot.
Junxu, 30.
He just got past the middle pocket just for a moment. I thought he might knuckle it. Red's in play now, so table's just changed a bit. It's more open. I can tell you, by the way, Staurt Bhingham, who, of course, wasn't... That's what is his home event, literally in Essex, the English Open. He didn't qualify, but he is 4-1 up to another Essex man, Ali Carter. He had a century, play well yesterday, didn't he, Bingham? So these glasses he's wearing seem to be doing the trick. Jack Lazowski and Sam Craigie are 2-2. Craigie has come from 2-0 down. He's had a century there in frame 4.
This is a well-played shot from O'Sullivan. Target ball in behind yellow. He's not quite there, but... So I don't know what the plan is from O'Sullivan. You know, is he going to try and tighten his game up? Or is he just going to start to take a few shots on? I mean, there's various ways he can go. Doesn't necessarily mean either will guarantee him getting back into this match. Just feel things are slipping away, though. And Pang's safety is pretty good. He's not left an easy starting red for any pots. There is one that goes to the right corner. Surprised he's not playing the one slightly below and to the left of the one he is playing. But anyway, in it goes. So now, what has he got? Usually he's got plenty in these circumstances, but on this day, can he make an improvement to his overall game? Because without any improvement, I don't think he's going to win.
Sort of visit if he was, 4-1 up or something, you'd almost give him this frame, but it's not like that in this match. Things have gone against him.
No, that's right, but it looks a pretty golden chance, doesn't it, now that's here. playing on that red will open up a couple more. Be an interesting match at 3-all, you know, for the neutral. Of course, when it comes to O'Sullivan, there aren't many neutrals really. Such a well-supported player. But 3-all would be an interesting state of affairs anyhow.
The good news, I think, for fans of O'Sullivan is that just watching him, we haven't seen the sort of reaction that we did last week in Brentwood, where he was getting visibly fed up with things.
Not played a very good shot there. I think he's on this top red, but only just about. Yeah, I don't think he enjoyed the crowd moving around, but of course, they were basically clamouring to get in to watch him play most of the time. Maybe a bit of movement on the other tables. I suppose he has to. No one can really say they know what it's like out there, because most players don't get that kind of support in the first place. Sometimes it backtracks a little bit, backfires as they get in your way.
Well, he's just sort of losing the cue ball a bit, isn't he?
Played a good shot there, you know. That's his best he's played for a while. There would have been a temptation if he lacked confidence to play in behind the brown there and just wait one, but it's not his style, is it? And 2 red blacks here is enough to leave Junxu requiring a snooker.
43.
Well, yeah, as a recovery shot, that yellow could be one of the key shots of the whole day, because the cue ball had drifted, but what a shot he played.
50.
So red and black, as you say, and snooker required. And Pang had the chance early in this frame. Sullivan was looking sort of just a bit off colour. Important visit for him to stay in this match.
58.
And in goes the red. So there'll be no playing for snookers. The biggest test he's faced in the 3 matches he's played this week at the Wuhan Open. Definitely
71.
upped his game for this frame, which he had to do. So it wasn't plain sailing this break, but he's kept it going really well. He's cleared up with 93. Ronnie O'Sullivan needed that, didn't he? He'd lost 3 frames on the spin. The match was maybe going against him. He just holds his elbow there, but he's back in things at 3-3. Well, as ever, it's a feast of cycling on Discovery Plus and Eurosport. The Tour of Venetia currently taking place, and you can follow that right across all our platforms. As I say, sat out a couple of tournaments. The good news is there's more on the calendar now, so if you do miss a couple early on, there is still time to recover.
Frame 7. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan breaks off in frame 7. He's just made 93, a clearance in the 6th, having led 2-0 and trailed 3-2. And 4-2 to Staurt Bhingham against Ali Carter. 4-1 Aaron Hill over Martin O'Donnell. So Aaron Hill from Cork in the Republic of Ireland looking to make progress to the last 16. Of course, he beat O'Sullivan, didn't he, on TV in his first season 3 years ago. One of the lockdown events, the European Masters in Milton Keynes. Since dropped off the tour but got back on as that red finds a pocket. And more importantly, in some ways, the kiss on the brown. Immediate chance then for Pang.
Yeah, the little kiss always helps, doesn't it? You go past the bulk colours and you've got no shot. It looks quite straight on the brown, but it doesn't mean he can't get on that left-hand red from here. First in would be handy. Of course, it's not a decider, but down to a best of 3 from here, it's important to get an early opportunity. But he's really got a hold of that, hasn't he? I don't know what he played, but I'm not sure he played down there. He's on a red, but that's going down to the bulk end as well.
Very aggressive shot he's played here to get into them. Could have been a better, clearly pretty dogged about him. We've seen that in this match.
I don't think there's any pot intended there. I think he was just looking to play safe. Yeah, I think he puts attention into his safety shots, which, you know, you think about the likes of Mark Selby as a sort of yardstick there. Mark Selby treats every shot with respect, and whether it be, you know, a pot that's complicated or just a safety shot which he's got to get into a certain area, puts effort into every shot, treats every shot like an event. I think Pang is that sort of a player. Because he's not achieved anything like Selby in the game, but I think he's of a similar mould, you know. Oh, well, that'll do. I can't believe he played it. No, he didn't. The fluke, as he put his hand up. That's a good shot. If he's on the black, I mean, it must be. I see Peggy Lee is rushing round there to be behind the line of this because the red may not be in the way, but it's touch and go, I think. Not easy to tell from the overhead. I'm sure he's okay. Yeah, I think he can get to it now. We're seeing it from that angle. Simultaneous is a foul. Although how you actually define simultaneous, because surely if you broke it down to the tiniest amount, probably he's always going to hit one ball before the other somewhere down the line.
12.
What a chance to go one up with 2 to play.
Yes, and one thing he's not done today, scored. O'Sullivan's made all the big breaks, but that can change. It may change here.
Well, he didn't have to play that cannon, so all credit to him for just trying to make things happen out there.
Yeah, he's not made a half century in the match.
Interesting player, because you look at his cue action and you think he's going to hit the ball, and just when you think he's going to hit the ball, he takes one further feather. Watch him here. He's going to hit the ball now, and then there's another little movement there. I can't say I've seen many players do that. You anticipate the hit, and it doesn't quite come when you think it will.
26.
Getting very interesting, isn't it? Because what does he do now? He'll need a bit more than what he's on. Clearly, the 2 reds that are not in those 4 would get him over the line. So he mightn't be that willing to break up the 4 reds. But he would still need a little bit more from this situation, because red-black here, 67 in it with 67 on. So would he play on the left-hand red, or would he try and open the 4 up? From here, I think he has to play into the 4 reds. I think full ball contact on the right-hand red, that would surely open everything up. Very nice. This is the best he's played in the match. You know, he's battled his way into a position from 2-0 down where he could compete, and now this break has stepped things up. O'Sullivan's got a lot of work to do here. He could go out.
Yeah, I think that's the concern for Ronnie O'Sullivan, the fact that Pang is now making the breaks. It's not all scrapping and bits and pieces. This is, basically one visit. So the stakes have been raised by this break, by far his highest of the match. He's looked very cool making it as well. How cool will he feel if he gets a chance to win the match? We might find out in the next frame. Because there's no bigger scalp. I know, obviously, O'Sullivan is not world champion currently, but there's no bigger scalp in the game than him.
Absolutely. And Pang Junxu earlier in the season had a couple of not very good defeats, losing twice in, I think, a very short period of time to Robbie Williams. Who said earlier, a good player and everything. But people have been speaking about Pang as a future champion. And he hasn't really done a lot in the matches so far. But this, like you say, would be a big boost. Anyway, he'll be 1 up with 2 to play, so we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting viewing.
What he's saying, though, here with this break is, I might only need 1 chance now to get it won. So his best form of the match has arrived at exactly the right time here. O'Sullivan made the 93 clearance in the 6th frame. And looking to make a century here in the 7th. And now he's potted that red, you fancy he's going to do it. Black takes him to 93. The break. Just remember the green's not on its spot here.
95.
Yeah, I think he's just about all right. And now I think he is a player with a good touch when he's in. And it's come to fruition in this frame anyway. He doesn't look as stylish as some of the young players coming through anywhere in the world, but this is a very good break it's been. It wasn't easy when he came to the table.
Yeah, wonderful. Century from Pang Junxu. So he goes into the frame. He needs to win the match. Feeling like $1 million here, having controlled this break so well. Okay, he's lost his way here, but it doesn't matter. It's well and truly done. $107 from Pang. That's his 6th century of the season, and what a time to make it, to put himself a frame from knocking out Ronnie O'Sullivan. He leads here 4-3. Underway in frame 8, Pang Junxu has just made 107 to lead Ronnie O'Sullivan 4-3, so he needs 1. O'Sullivan needs 2. Just quickly, the other scores. Judd Trump's beaten Matt Selt 5-0. Staurt Bhingham leads Ali Carter 4-3. It was 4-1. Carter's won the last 2. Aaron Hills had 2 centuries to lead Martin O'Donnell 4-1, and Sam Craigie leads Jack Nazowski 3-2. Craigie was 2-0 down. All these matches in the last 32 of the Wuhan Open. Oh, wow, it's held on, that cue ball. Look at that. Could be angled there.
Well, angled, I should think so. Look at that. That's virtually in the pocket, isn't it? I mean, how's that stayed out? He's angled and some.
Well, it's like he's sort of put it under a spell or something to keep it on the lip of the pocket.
Put it this way, should he make a foul and it's replaced, I don't think Peggy will be able to put it back there without falling in. See, what does Hawkeye make of it? I mean, that's just buried in the deep into the jaws, isn't it?
Ronnie O'Sullivan 6.
Well, I'm very interested to see how Peggy Lee gets on with this. I was really hoping that would be missed, just so I could see this, because this is, I mean, I've never seen anyone so angled on a ball in my life. I actually think it was further in the pocket than that. Not that it affects the shot, but I mean, it is an angled shot still, so yeah, I suppose that's about right, isn't it? Worst scenario. He was lucky there, O'Sullivan, very lucky, because on a different day he goes in off. Well, almost every other day, in fact, he goes in off from there. Now he's got this chance. And that's taken a couple of reds out.
30. 31.
Very nice.
Plumb on an angled Pang has made a big difference here. Set up this chance. Whereas the in-off Pang, you fancy, could have got a good safety back.
46.
Yeah, I mean, it completely changed things, didn't it? And he may have even had a long red to go at, into the left corner at the in-off, which looked a certainty taking place. Anyway, he had a bit of good luck, and he's certainly taken full advantage of it. And we look like we could be going to a decider, but we're not there at this stage.
49.
Though by the Reds in the process.
57.
Not sure. Yeah, going to have to.
58.
Pretty good shot. Pretty good shot, that. Not on a red very easily, but he's on a close red.
So we're going all the way. He's made a good break here. Albeit the way it began was rather strange with the cue ball angling his opponent.
73.
But when the chance came, O'Sullivan
74.
was taking it very nicely. So all on one more frame to decide who goes through to play Yuan Jun in the last 16 of this Wuhan Open. I was saying, how would Pang feel if he got a chance to win it? Well, we don't know from this frame because he didn't get one. See if he does in the decider. Looks like a second century incoming for O'Sullivan. So Pang went 4-3 up with 107. Sullivan, with his pink, will have responded in kind with his own century. Yeah, it's turned into a really good match, this. And we've got one more frame to decide it.
104. 105.
Those keeping count, that's career century number 1,216.
It's been a beautiful break. You know, Pang's was also very good previously, but actually, you know, the way that Ronnie has almost effortlessly got these balls into open play, doesn't matter about that. I mean, I think his mind, like everyone else's, now is on the decider. The game is really.
So we've got one more frame to decide who goes through to the last 16. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Pang Junxu. They've each had a century in the last two frames. Pang 107, O'Sullivan 117. There's a little fist bump before the decider. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan to get us underway. All on this one, Yuan Jun awaits in round 4.
I always feel that the dynamic somewhat changes in a deciding frame. I mean, it's been, not that they haven't put all the effort in all the way through clearly, but there's a sense that you just don't want to give away the first chance in the decider. This is a half chance, this long red, that's all it is at this stage. Now he's at the mercy of where the ball's finished there. Not the ideal start for O'Sullivan, missing that by such a way and leaving this.
Well, as I say, he didn't get a look in that last frame, but he is in first in the decider. See how far he gets here. He seems to have improved as the match has gone on. I mean, he would have been happy with 2-2 because it was a bit of a scrap to get there. O'Sullivan missed a pink, looking good for 3-1. And then, you know, the match could have gone away from him after that.
dear. Well, he's blocked the pocket if there's any consolation, any crumb of comfort. But he missed that by... Well, far from the overhead, looked like he'd missed it by a considerable margin, actually. Don't know how, because it was quite an easy shot. Oh, dear, Ronnie, that's a poor shot. That double kiss is on there. Again, with the green over the pocket, he may not have done any damage. A little bit slapdash there from O'Sullivan. I think the double kiss might be on. It invariably is on. Well, I said about the intensity of a decider. We've seen 3 or 4 quite poor shots in a row, actually, in this frame already.
Well, there's clearly something right in his eye line there. The referee's just gone to put a stop to it. Well, a few mistakes, but nothing straightforward being left. Got nervy after the exchange of centuries. Suddenly it's got very edgy. All on the line in this frame. It would be, of course, one of Pang's best ever wins. And O'Sullivan looking to continue in big ranking event. He needs ranking points at the moment with the Players Series and the one-year list and all the rest of it.
Well, now, I wonder if there's a red that goes past the black there, just at the bottom of the bunch. It must be tight on all levels. Well, does the red go? Can you see enough of it? And does it pass the black? I think both boxes are ticked there. It looked at first as if he'd left nothing there, Junxu, but he left something anyway. This is a half chance at the worst. Goodness, he's got that bottom red and the bunch which goes, and he's got the green over the pocket to save him if the cue ball doesn't land on a more obvious colour. So this shot is massive. He's opening up the whole frame one way or another. It's a real chance, and he got in virtually first, and obviously Pang missed that green from the outset. So he was kind of in, but this is a properly dangerous opportunity. This is, and I think the question was asked at Ronnie O'Sullivan when Pang made that lovely break to go 4-3 up, and what have you got? And as usual, he's got plenty to offer. He hasn't won the frame yet, and this is a dodgy situation. But he's moved up a little bit in gear. That red just passes the other two. It's tight.
28.
That's what champions do, isn't it? And Sullivan fits that bill all right. Goodness, this is all to play a red to the middle, I think, instead. More difficult. Ah, well, great shot. Great shot.
Well, it's not been the most straightforward break, this, but he's still going, and Pang needs a twist very soon here.
44.
Again, he's kept his focus even when Pang made that century for 4-3. He seemed ready to take the chance when it came in the next frame, which he did. First match where he's been seriously challenged all week. And the tests you feel will get tougher as the week goes on, but looking like Ronnie O'Sullivan will still be here to meet them. So black puts him 63 in front. He needs another red.
Yeah, I mean, Pang did miss that easy green, didn't he? And it pretty much was straightforward, I thought. We were watching it from the overhead view. So he kind of had that chance. Otherwise, he's played well. Well.
Not over yet.
How about that? That was the last piece, wasn't it, of the jigsaw?
It was literally match ball. So 63 in front, still 67 available.
So there's a chance, but even then, wow, surely can he reach this from there? I think he might have to swerve it, and he doesn't want to use the rest to do so. So O'Sullivan might have been a little fortunate here. He needs high-value colours. The first red, I don't think he can quite get to without a little trace of left-hand side. This looks decidedly uncomfortable, what he's doing here. Just to swerve it around the yellow a bit. Pot it and hold for the black. Got too much on it. You have to say, O'Sullivan missed that red and left Pang a pretty horrible little shot there, to be honest. Now, O'Sullivan won't want to move that red by the yellow. He'll want as many reds close to cushions as is possible. So he's moving the red that's the most exposed. Still a strong favourite. But you never know with this game. Mathematically, Pang can still get the frame and match one. Of course, the other factor for Junxu is that he can't afford to take low-value colours. You know, he's going to have to be put right up there with virtually all pinks and blacks to ensure that if he does clear up, he doesn't fall short in points. Oh dear. Well, going into the pocket was not a lot better. In fact, he might have been saved by that. Red goes in, Pang's in trouble because he can't pot a colour. Well, I mean, he couldn't do that if he tried. Hit that jaw and go back in off in that corner. Now, the equation is different. And the score's been put on the wrong one, so...
Yeah. He can only tie, can't he?
He can only tie, yeah, that's right.
And if O'Sullivan knocks this in, it's over. Hasn't, though?
Scores have been updated, so 5 reds, 5 blacks, all the colours for a tie, which sounds hard, and even it looks even harder where the balls are.
Having said that, you know, the stage was set for O'Sullivan just to knock that in, and it was over. He didn't really get close to it, so where there's life, there's hope.
Well, for instance, I mean, why it's particularly difficult, even if he takes 2 or 3 red blacks, the red up by the right middle up the top side of it. I don't know how you'd pop that and get on the black. But you've got to start somewhere. 2 or 3 red blacks here, even then it will not be straightforward. And anything is possible. If he pots this black, things start to already increase in difficulty to keep getting reds and blacks. I don't quite know where he'll go with the cue ball from this. I think that red, the other side of the middle pocket, that's got to end up somewhere down this end, fairly adjacent to the black, or certainly in a place where he could pot a red and a black. Well, that's a good shot, actually. That has helped him. Table's looking slightly more orthodox now with regards to counter-attack, but it's 51 is the difference, 51 available. Match ball, I think, has come up again here.
Well, that strategy did not work, did it? So once again, for the 4th time, Ronnie O'Sullivan has the red for victory. Strange ending, really.
Very. I mean, the last shot was extraordinary, wasn't it? And I suppose he didn't know what to do, but what he actually tried, I'm still not sure. The balls were in a bad state, but it's been a good match, this. It's been a bit of a slow burner. The last few frames have been very good, and both players have played well. O'Sullivan is doing what champions do. He's picked up his game. I think he had to, otherwise he'd have been considering the flight home or whatever he's doing after this, but he's still in now.
Yeah, there's a certain calmness to him. Whether he's playing well enough to win the tournament, well, we'll find out as each day goes by. But he's here on day 4 of this 7-day event. He'll play Yuan Sijun, another Chinese player, another young up-and-comer, tomorrow for a place in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I mean, we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan enough over the last 30 years, whatever it is, but I'll say now that this form will not win him the tournament. But, of course, like anything else, he can pick up, and he's in the tournament still. and with a chance to improve.
Yeah, and we've seen players of his stature, once they get to the sort of business end, the quarterfinals onwards, they can solve and pick it up. But anyway, he's still here. Pang's last shot, you're just trying to hope for the best with, but, well, it gifted this chance. And, of course, O'Sullivan only needed the red. So it's the biggest test he's faced this week, but he has ultimately passed it. There's been some good stuff in there, a couple of centuries. Other times he's been struggling, but he's still here, chasing down the £140,000 first prize and another trophy this season in China. A funny old ending in the in the end to this match, but you can hear